So I've been thinking a lot about Triple A gaming recently, and one of the things that kind of interested me so much that I actually wanted to get on camera was this funny little idea of corporate capitalism and how Triple A studios can take your favorite games and extract as much money out of you as possible, putting in the least amount of effort to actually make the game. You know, just some cynical existential dread kind of stuff, like normal weekday things. I truly believe that what we're experiencing right now is a bursting of the AAA bubble, a separation of corporate-made, passionless money grabs from the smaller but still incredibly fun and affordable games from AA studios and below. So I want to talk about the corporate structure of game companies for the third time on my channel, and how these corporations don't care about you, they care about money. They take products you love and squeeze the most profit that they can out of it while minimizing costs on development effort. And to me, it's extremely important that we keep talking about this in the gaming space because we as gamers are extremely susceptible to being taken advantage of. We identify ourselves based on the games that we like. We find meaning in the art of a game. We create relationships through the shared experience we have with other gamers. It's very possible that nostalgia may creep into our wallets where reason should be instead. So the more we talk about it, the more awareness we spread, and hopefully the more people stop falling into the AAA trap. Though really quick, I want to point out that this problem is not just in the gaming industry. This is something that's been ruining movies and TV shows for what feels like decades now. Just take a look at Marvel, Star Wars, Disney movies in general, half of the shit that Netflix puts out. It's unfortunate, but a lot of these big budget films are turning into corporate mush. By the numbers remakes or creatively bankrupt TV series that are really just there to capitalize on your attention span or your nostalgia rather than doing anything creative or innovative. Corporations are a sign that an industry is booming. Any industry that makes money will have big corporations that control a large portion of it. Gaming is no different. Ubisoft, Nexon, Activision Blizzard. These are huge companies with thousands of employees that rake in hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars per year. So if they make so much money, you would think that corporations would be great for the industry. I mean, if so many people buy their products, wouldn't you think that the people like the corporations too? Well, yes and no. It's undeniable that people buy their products. That's why they've become corporations and continue to survive amongst the incredible amounts of new studios popping up every day. But that doesn't mean that their product is the best. For the most part, it just means that it's the most widely known, or that at one point it was the best and all other competition has been snuffed out. The best example I can give you is EA. EA puts out a Madden game every year. They put out FIFA every year. And every year they make a lot of money. And I mean a lot of money. But is Madden just the undeniable best football game out there? Well, in a world where there isn't much competition, of course it is. When's the last time you heard of a football game that wasn't Madden? Or a soccer game that wasn't FIFA? Can you imagine a smaller dev studio trying to compete with these games? The point I'm trying to make is that these corporations have skillfully worked their way into a place where they have no competition. Any competitors, even other corporations, will have an extremely hard time creating games that can compete. So what does this mean to you? We as consumers are given an illusion of choice. In reality, we are being fed limited options, with limited competition that could have driven these corporations to actually improve their game. Right now, we're seeing the consequences of a lack of competition in gaming. Pokemon games releasing broken, Halo games releasing without content, Call of Duty games don't really change much, neither do Assassin's Creed games, MMORPGs take forever to make, and if you make one, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to pull people away from the most popular games like World of Warcraft, RuneScape, or Final Fantasy. Just recently, we had a Star Wars Battlefront remake release, and it was worse in quality than the originals that came out in the early 2000s.
Instead of Battlefront fans being treated to a bit of fan service, this collection is a shameless money-grubbing exploit of said fan base. This is nothing more than a cold-blooded attempt to exploit people's nostalgia, which is the most disrespectful thing you could do with a game like this.
We need to be very aware of the fact that gaming companies are not worried about whether or not you are happy with your choices of games. They aren't going to go the extra mile beyond their planned budget just to make sure that the game they're making is perfect. Everything is calculated. Gaming companies are only worried about making as much profit as they can with as minimal of costs as possible. Now you may say, but Jack, some game studios love their fan base and are constantly communicating with their fans to give them what they want. Don't they actually care? Yes, the companies do care about what you think. No, they don't do that because they care about you specifically. They will develop the game to your liking because if enough people agree with you and stop buying their game, it's beneficial for them to do what you're asking and get people buying again. This is an example of aligned interests. See, corporations will basically align themselves with whatever social cause or whatever gaming trend makes them the most money. Why do you think WB Games is doubling down on live service models, even though Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was pretty much a disaster? It's because the live service model has proven to be the safest investment for a hefty return.
Sir, the game isn't even finished. Only half of it even works. Oh, that doesn't matter.
The reason smaller studios can't get away with stuff like this is because they need their interests to align with customers more often in order to get customers to buy their product. They are the underdog, the new people on the block. They need to make sure their game is good enough that the player base sticks around instead of going to the other AAA options that had a much larger marketing or production budget. And I hate to be so cynical, but that's just how business works. Sometimes the customer's interests align with the company, sometimes it doesn't. The business will decide what they do based on the amount of money that they make from it, not how happy it'll make customers. If you want to look at it another way, ask yourself the question, do you think that if hundreds of thousands of people complain about predatory cash shops, that the mobile games will stop having predatory cash shops? No, because for every hundreds of thousands of people complaining about the cash shop, there are 10 people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in that cash shop. And if corporations are psychologically manipulating customers into spending more money, creating barriers to entry that prevent any real competition, making budget cuts while releasing games of questionable quality, and doing all of that while trying to spread a message of, we do this for you, dear consumer. If the corporation is evil, wouldn't you expect the people working in the corporation to be evil too? Like little henchmen to a supervillain right out of a comic book? Obviously the answer is no. Not everyone that works at a corporation is evil, and to be fair, not every corporation is evil. But what we as consumers need to understand is that the corporate structure itself has been refined over time to help businesses be the most efficient at serving their purpose, which is to make money. At the top will always be the board of directors, the president of the company, and the C-suite. These guys make all the decisions, and most of the time, their job is not to care about games, it's to care about the welfare of the business. But does this make them evil? Well, some of them might be, but being an executive at a corporation doesn't inherently make you an evil person. Most of the time, it just means you're good at your job.
On my business card, I am a corporate president. In my mind, I am a game developer. But in my heart, I am a gamer.
And this is relatively the same for all the employees below them. They're hired to do a job, and that job is related to some function that the business needs in order to make money. Now, of course, there will be plenty of people who do their job and are passionate about making a great game. I'm sure Ian Hazzikostas, the game director for WoW, truly wants to make the game better. He has always seemed very passionate, but he doesn't have the final say. If he makes a game that doesn't rake in more and more revenue every year, he will be seen as a failure in the eyes of the business. They may not fire him on the spot, but you best believe that he's going to be under an incredible amount of pressure to perform better for the company. What's up everyone, Editor Jack here, and I have a treat for you. I actually got a hold of some real fake video footage of an actual fake Bethesda meeting where the game director of Starfield 2 is giving some executives a status update, and the executives, they make real fake changes on the spot. This proves how easy it is for the people in charge of the business side to change what the creative side does. Bobby, roll the tape. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about the QA results for our next Starfield game named Starfield Plus. If we keep our current pace, we're looking about 31 weeks or 7 months to deliver fixes for all of these, assuming we don't find any more going forward. Any questions? Yes, sir, Jack. This is Jim, your CMO. That is Chief Marketing Officer, if you don't know, Jack. You're telling me that to address all these bugs, it'll take 31 weeks, but that'll put us well past our targeted launch date, and I would really like to hit our targeted launch date because that puts the release of this game right before the holidays, and I would love to have something to sell for the holiday rush. I mean, that is a huge opportunity for some high return on investment here, and I don't think the company can afford to miss that. Yeah, Jim, great point. Yeah, see, this is Devin, CFO, and to add to Jim's point, I would really like to see us reduce the number of weeks it takes to fix all of these bugs, because I would really like to reduce the amount of strain on the budget by severely reducing the size of our QA team. So we need them to retest as many fixes as possible before I end their contracts. Okay, not a problem. I'll see what I can do to speed up the pace of their testing. When did you want to cancel their contracts? And next week, yeah. All right, see what I can do about that, yeah. Wing, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think we really should be focusing on our internal devs, because they are the heart and soul of the game. Do you think that we can ask them to use their passion for game development to maybe work harder, maybe more hours in the day, to really push us past that finish line, sprint in the final 50 yards of the marathon? Oh yeah, I'm sure they'd be so happy to get more of their time to make this game as perfect as possible, especially for no extra pay or guarantee of future employment once the game is launched. Yeah, and while we're talking about the dev team, I would also like to hear from you, Lazarus. Lazarus, he's our Chief Diversity Officer. I'm pretty sure we can secure some capital from investors who specifically look for Hispanics in video games.
Do you feel like we'd address this with our dev team, Lazarus? Lazarus, are you there? Okay, well, we can just ask him through email.
Jack, can you just double check with the devs that we put in a new Hispanic character in the game, like Miles Morales? Everyone loves Miles Morales. He's cool and Hispanic. So can you just put Miles Morales in Starfield Plus? Yeah, sure. I think I can do that. You do know this is a game about space exploration and creating your own spaceship, though, right? It doesn't really have any superheroes in it. Yeah, that's not my problem. I'm just the money guy, not the creative game-making guy. That's probably someone on your team. Okay, so more crunch time to hit a holiday deadline. QA team will need to work faster to optimize their usefulness before they're fired. And Miles Morales. Okay, thanks for your time today, team. Please consider all the hard work I'm doing in your next round of promotions, or at least when you're looking at which games to cancel and who to fire. Okay, talk to you soon. So again, what does this mean for you, the customer? Why the hell am I taking up all your time talking about what people may already know? Well, here we go. Here's the big drop. Here's the main point I was building up to the entire time. I want you, my dear viewer, to be prepared. Basically, I would like for us gamers to better protect ourselves against some of the disappointments that AAA gaming produces. If they get your money, they don't care about your complaint. At the end of the day, I feel that this structure leads to a conflict of interest. The gaming side of the company, the creative side of the house, is put in a position where it constantly fights with the business side of the company. And unfortunately, the business side will always win because games need money to be made and function. The world doesn't run on good vibes and fun games, it runs on cash. And that means that any complaint a dev may have is instantly trumped by the response, but this will make us more money. And this brings us back to the structure of corporations. It's not one person's fault, it's a system. The system was created to efficiently run a business, and that's it. Corporations don't foster creativity because that's not what they were meant to do. The structure has been put in place to make money based off data and educated decision making. And that's why creativity is only tolerated as long as you can prove with data that the creative investment is worth the risk. I'm being a bit dramatic, but basically, I went on this rant to spread awareness on protecting yourself against these corporations. Don't buy games based on pure trust in developers because it may not be the developers that have the final say. Try not to fall victim to predatory microtransactions because this validates the company's decision to be predatory and have microtransactions. Don't pre-order online games if the developer hasn't given you a reason to trust that the game will be actually good. Just be aware. And most of all, if a game comes out and it's shit and you happen to buy it, go get that refund. Even in live service games, if the game is broken or not fun, don't just sit on it. Don't trust that the developers will eventually make it good. Refund the game and then buy it again when it gets good. Anyway, I turned this into more of a rant than I had hoped, but I still think that it's an interesting conversation to have with you all. I would love to hear your take on the gaming industry and how corporations can better foster creativity and innovation in games, rather than what they're meant to do right now, which is make a lot of money. But most importantly, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you liked it, and subscribe for more content. I hope you enjoy these AAA gaming companies' games, and I can't wait to see what we talk about next.